Here we go with this Latin story, chapter XXVI. Now Psyche wrapped up the head of the girl with a veil. And Yam again. Now this lewd-shaped mug was prey means before, was carried before the flaming torch. Another Yam. Now the drunken women who were plaudanting, they were clapping or making a noise. They feckerented a long column. And they exornaveranted, they decorated the wedding chamber, the thalamum. They were wearing incesta veste, they were wearing clothing that was a bit showy maybe or crude. Then Quartilla, who was quoque, post-positive. It was also, she was burning with the lust of all the joking people. She also herself surexcited. She got up and she corrupted them, and she's grabbed Gitona and she dragged him into the cubicle into the bedroom. So the nominative of Giton is Giton. So that's accusative. Without doubt, the boy did not fight. He didn't fight back, being dragged in, and ne quidem, not even the Tristis girl, though Tristis can be in brackets because it's not in all versions, not even the girl, she was fearing the name of marriage. And so, in Clusi, there's a boy and girl there, so the male I shows for the plural. When they were lying shut in there, we sat down before the threshold of the thalamus, of the wedding chamber, and in primus, you can say first place or especially or something, Quartilla again, through a crack, she applied a curious eye, looking at the people who had been led in there, and she's adverbally, wickedly doing it. And the puerile sport she was watching with diligent libido or something close in English, lust or something. Me also, in the accusative, she dragged to the same spectacle with a gentle hand. And because the faces, it's plural, were sticking together of us while we were considering or watching, or probably originally comes from consido, meaning to sit down, but so they were watching that whatever from the spectacle, when there's idle time or something, she would move her lips. Obita comes from along the way, or incidentally mainly, and me, just as if we were beating from time to time with secret kisses. Okay, so in other words, they're looking through the crack, and the faces were close together because they were looking through the crack, and incidentally and by the way, and when there was free time, she would kiss him, and the verb rat means it was a bit of a whipping or beating in the kiss. Abjecti comes from the ectile being thrown, so thrown into lectus, it's a lectern or a bed. Without any fear, we exiguous. We conducted or drew out the rest of the night. There came now the third day. This was the expectation of a liberal dinner, generous or free dinner, but dug with so many wounds, tot meaning so many, flight, fuga, was more pleasing than rest. Itiqui, and so, when maesti, a bit gloomy, we were deliberating to where we could avoid this present storm. Genere, don't really need to interpret that. One slave of Agamemnon intervened. So that's one person, so the trepiding people. We were a bit trepidatious. Anyway, he said, what's this? Are you Nescius? Don't you know today, Pud, whom's you're at, it is happening. Don't you know today where you are, whose house you're at? Looks like this is the guy, Trimarchio, a very homo lortissimus, lavish maybe or something like that. Okie doke. Daily Dictionary. Lotus. Elegant, fashionable, sumptuous, luxurious. Here's washed, which little Tom means washed. But you could say he's a fine man or he spends a lot of money. Back to the plot. In the triclinium in the dining room, he has a clock. And he has someone who blows a horn, who's a suborn. And so that he can know from the from time to time how much of his life he's lost per dederate. Okay, so therefore then, amicamur, we were dressed diligently, forgetful of all our troubles, and to get on, it looks like he's an accusative, who's watching with a very servile duty very freely. Here we go. We ordered Gitona to sequius, to follow us into the bath. XXVII. We, meanwhile, dressed, we began to wander about, or more precisely to joke more, and to go to the circulus, a circle or a turba or a manus, just a group of people. When suddenly we saw a bald old man, vestatum, dressed in a tunica rossia, in a red tunic, and he was amongst some hairy boys playing with a ball. Neither Tam, so much the boys, us, although it was worth a price, although it was worth looking at, that so it wasn't these boys that led us to this spectacle of looking at the old man, Tam quam correlatives, as much as it was the head of the household himself, the paterfamilias, who, wearing sandals, was exercising with a green ball. Neither further did he seek be peto, repeat, so when it touched the ground, he didn't repeat with the same ball, or he didn't seek out the same ball, but a slave had a plenum follum. He had a full bag of balls, looks like a slave did, and these were sufficient for the games. We noted even a revolution, for there were two eunuchs in different parts standing in this circle of men, of which one was holding a matella, whatever that is, I think it's a missile or something, and it was silvery. Another was numerating the pillars, that he was counting them. It was not indeed these which, into the hands, from hand to hand, were vibrating as they were chucking the ball, expelling the ball from each other in this game, but he was numerating or counting the balls which fell into the ground. Okay, so Google that metallium thing. It's a pot full of liquids, or a chamber pot, that maybe the balls are going into them. So looks like these two eunuchs, one was holding a pot. Maybe they're putting the balls in that, so the balls are coming out of a bag and going into a pot. Anyway, therefore then, when we were admiring the lotus, when we saw that it's an extravagance or something, Menelaus ran up. This is, he said, him amongst whom you will be reclining to eat on your elbows. And indeed, this is the principum, the beginning of the dinner that you are seeing. Et yam non, or non yam, no longer Menelaus was speaking, when Trimarchius crepited his fingers. He maybe cracked a knuckle, or made a clicking sound, to which signal the spade eunuch, neutered and spade, he gave this chamber pot to the ludenting, to the player. With his vesica, with his bladder exonerated, unburdened, he poposcated water. He demanded water. Looks like for a purpose here, to his hands. So he splashed a bit of water on it for a little while, to his hands and fingers. So he peed in the pot and sprayed a bit on his hands and waters. Then he wiped it off in the head of the boy. That's it.